I'm not the kind of man who seeks out conflict. Let me make that clear right from the start, because what happened on that crisp April morning in 2024 might paint a different picture. A skid steer rumbling through my backyard at dawn, a flatbed truck loaded up by mid-morning, and a massive wooden stage that had squatted on my property for 9 days vanished before lunch. But that wasn't rage or impulse. That was calculation. I've spent 3 decades as a structural engineer, and when you spot an unauthorized build on a site, you don't bargain with it. You assess, document, and execute the fix with the exactness the job demands. Sometimes it's a simple patch. Other times, it's total removal. My late wife, Elizabeth, had dreamed up that stone patio back in the summer of 2009. She hunted down the Tennessee flagstone herself, scribbled designs on graph paper over coffee at our kitchen table, tweaked them half a dozen times, and finally showed me the blueprint one Saturday in September with that understated glow she had for her creations. We laid every stone together across 3 straight weekends in October, her kneeling with a mallet and level, me mixing mortar and sawing cuts, our 12-year-old daughter passing tools and chiming in like she was the expert. Elizabeth passed away in January 2022. Since then, I've kept that patio pristine, tending it like everything else on the lot, because upkeep isn't just chores, it's remembrance. I knew every slab by heart. Karen Mitchell had chaired the Oakwood Hills Events Committee since 2017. She'd eyed my backyard for the neighborhood fundraiser since at least 2022. I turned her down flat at the April 2023 HOA meeting. I followed up with a formal letter in September 2023, one crisp paragraph on my letterhead, sent certified to the committee's box. I figured that sealed it. I headed out to Seattle on April 4th to see my daughter and grandkids. 12 days of family time. Pulled into my driveway on April 16th around 1:15 p.m., and through the fence gap, I spotted something off, wooden, raised with fancy rails. A full 40-foot stage. Fresh concrete piers at the corners, still that raw gray of a new pour. String lights drilled into the bark of my 4 red oaks. White banners stapled to the back fence. And worst of all, 6 bolt holes punched into Elizabeth's flagstone patio. 3 slabs split. The big one on the north side, with that striking red streak she'd placed just so for the afternoon sun, cracked clean through. The quarry she'd sourced from Shutdown in 2016. Irreplaceable. I sat in the car for 3 minutes, not debating if I'd act, but mapping the steps. Like any site inspection, document first, then call on the crew. I dial my go-to demolition guy. He showed up at 7 a.m. sharp. The stage was trucked out by 10. I had 247 photos, a 4-page report, and every bolt bagged as evidence before I even touched base with my lawyer. Karen banged on my door at 11:15. That setup's HOA property. You had no right to tear it down. I told her I couldn't wait to hear that defense in court. Shut the door. 18 months later, a trespass conviction, a $314,600 civil hit, a $4,000 fine, and probation. The patio's still standing. I'm no hothead, but I know permanence when I see it. Those piers weren't going anywhere on their own. She misjudged what was permanent. Let me back up and explain why this wasn't some knee-jerk explosion. It might look that way, a guy bulldozing a neighborhood project in broad daylight. But I've built my career on the line between panic and precision. Engineers don't freak out over flaws. We evaluate, record, and resolve. Sometimes a call fixes it. Sometimes you rip it out before it collapses on folks. That stage? It had to go. Pure evaluation. 30 years in structural engineering, 22 in an Atlanta firm, 8 solo on home and small business reviews. Retired in June 2021. Elizabeth and I plan to putter around the property, travel on whims, host our daughter and her kids' summers. Diagnosis hit in August 2020. She was gone by January 2022, right in our bedroom in the house we bought back in 2001. Oakwood Hills was fresh then, and our lot at the end of Maplewood Lane was the odd one out. Farthest from the gate, cul-de-sac dead end. Folks called it isolated. We called it ideal. 3.2 acres, flat backyard stretching 200 feet to the fence, rich Georgia clay, growing lush grass, for red oaks Elizabeth planted as saplings in 2003 in that patio. She sketched it in 2009, found the stone in some landscaping rag, a warm gray with red veins that blended like it had always belonged. Revised the plans 4 times, presented it like a quiet masterpiece. We built it ourselves those October weekends. Her tapping levels, me cutting and mixing, our girl Sarah, 12 then, handing wrenches and critiquing like a pro. Elizabeth, an accountant for 26 years, was all about order, nothing wasted. But the patio? That was her hands-on triumph, different from spreadsheets. After she passed, I maintained it religiously. Spring scrubs, yearly seals, fresh joint sand after freezes. Like the oaks, the fence, the beds, it was honoring her. Karen Mitchell? No grudge, but she had that organizer's arrogance after 7 years running events. Community good equaled her say-so. She floated my yard for the gala through gossip before asking outright. At the 2023 meeting, she pitched hard. Fundraiser for improvements, limited spots, my place perfect. I said no, politely, firmly. Property's private. Good luck elsewhere. September brought a 2-page plea on HOA stationery. 200 guests, grand vision, please use your lawn and patio. I replied 1 paragraph. Thanks, but no. Regards, John Harrington. 2 no's, spoken, written. Done deal. Sarah had nagged me to visit Seattle since last summer. Moved there in 2019 with her husband and our grandkids, 7 and 4. I'd gone twice post-Elizabeth, both short, distracted. The property held her memory. In March 2024, Sarah pushed for 2 full weeks, kid spring break. I agreed. Flew out April 4th, back April 16th. Landed Atlanta 11:40 a.m., drove north on I-575 through familiar Fulton County hills. Turned into Oakwood Hills, down Maplewood Lane. From a street bend, a glimpse of my yard showed wood, elevated, railed. Parked, peered through the side gate. 40 by 24 feet, 6 inches off ground, pressure-treated lumber, white rails like a wedding setup. Lights screwed into oaks, banners on fence, for concrete piers fresh poured. Sat in the car. Engineer brain. Piers mean forever. They'd sunk them into Elizabeth's lawn, the one she'd seeded and mowed for 2 decades. 3 minutes mapping. Docs calls. David Lawson, demo contractor I'd known 20 years, reliable, no babysitting. John? Thought you were in Seattle. Back. Need a rig at my place tomorrow. Full tear out. Pause. Tearing what? They built a stage in my yard. He was there at 7. Went inside. Eyed it from the back door. Stage abutted the patio like a natural extension. Walked over. 6 holes drilled for cable anchors. 3 in slabs, including the red-veined one she'd fussed over that Saturday in 2009. Mallet taps. Step back. Satisfied nod. Cracked full width. Unfixable. Stood there long. Then grabbed the camera. 2 hours. Every angle, tape for scale like job sites. Called Sarah first. Dad, safe landing? Fine. Sarah, they built a stage in your mom's yard. Silence. What? Karen Mitchell's committee. 40 feet, concrete bases. Drilled the patio. She knew it. Helped build it at 12. Attended the memorial their post-funeral. 40 folks on Elizabeth stones. You okay? I'm fine. Calm, focused. David's coming at 7. Gone by noon. Good. David arrived 7:02 with coffee. Handed him my 4-page assessment. Stage specs, tree screws, piers, patio damage. Footings are the hassle. 18 inches. Need the bucket. Break it grade, pull M. Photo the turf after. Platform. Disassemble intact for court. He nodded. Bobcat T595. Nimble, minimal tracks. Operator Dara cracked the first pier with 1 hit. Audible snap. Extracted, tarped on driveway. Photographed hole, ragged clay edge. All 4 out by 8:15. Disassembly. Rails, deck, joists, beams, taped labels, loaded sequential. I pulled tree screws. 12 total, bagged. Whole shot with flashlight for sap damage. Arborist later pegged it at $2,200. Cables last. Photos before/after, crack stark. That red vein slab? Replaced, but not the same. Corey gone. Called Emily Chun at 10:31. Flatbed netted by 10. Yard showed holes and tracks. Minimal mess. David's logs. Hours inventory. Deliver where? Your yard. Hold for legal. Got it. You all right? Glanced at Oaks, lawn, crack patio. Will be. He left 10:07. Emily. HOA specialist. 16 years Atlanta property fights. Sent docs evening of 16th. Photos, assessment, David's records, my notes, meeting notes. She called next morning. Authorizations key. Bylaws limit events to common areas only. No private lots, consent or not. Expected that. In the memo, she read, fake board approval attached to $34,000 stage contract. Board denied it. 5 calls confirmed, no vote, no chat. 3 unaware. 2 heard casual mention, no green light. She forged it to access after your no. Emily hired Michael Donovan for damage. 28 years masonry. April 19th. Probed holes, measured cracks, photos. Hand-laid. Joints precise, 2 mm variance. Attentive work. Elizabeth did it in 2009. Together. Nod. Report. $18,400 partial replace. $31,200 full restore. Matching tough. For $1,800 lawn, $2,200 trees. Total $38,200. Master key. Summit managed HOA. Held emergency keys. Karen got mine citing event prep. No check. Negligent. Will sue them secondary. Primary. Karen's fraud. Criminal. Trespass. July 16th, 21. Mischief. July 16th, 22. Flag memo for fraud. Sheriff's file April 24th. Detective reviewed. Thorough docs. Board statements confirmed fake. Gary, no. Robert Ellis, president. Admitted Karen mentioned my no casually, called it not final. She's not liable, but depositional sting. How'd she write that? Emily. Wanted it true. Board silence says yes. Community good justifies. I stare at holes. Drilled Elizabeth's work for a party backdrop. No fix for that. HOA board met April 29th. Insurer's lawyer. No authority beyond common. Summit's key flop. Paid invoice on fake memo. Funded trespass. Voted Brenda. Karen out 3-2. She threatens suit. Lawyer advised against. Civil. Filed May 15th. Defendants. Karen personal. HOA. Counts. Trespass $75,000. Property destruction $31,200. Emotional distress $120,000. My statement. Elizabeth's last creation. Drilled while away. Punitives $240,000. Total $466,200 plus fees. My words. She set every stone. Died 2022. Not just landscaping. Her legacy. June 3rd hearing. Judge dismissed Karen's counter. I destroyed their gear. Intact on truck. Denied motions. Authority didn't extend. Distress valid. Read my statement aloud. Court silent. HOA settled June 19th. $180,000 from policy. Amended bylaws. No private use sans consent. Karen's exposure. $286,200. Trial October. For days. Docs buried her defenses. Jury. All counts for me. $75,000 trespass. $31,200 property. $120,000 distress. $240,000 punitives. $28,400 fees. Net $314,600 after HOA cut. Criminal. Guilty trespass plea for $1,000 fine. 18 months probation. Board unanimous removal. Called William Foster November. Stone specialist. Source close match Tennessee stone. Lighter. Vein faint. Set over 2 days. Match joints. Not identical. Visible if you look. Knew that. Tended not perfect. Sarah visited January. Coffee on patio. Why no call HOA first? They drilled her work. Some things you remove, no talk. Mom would have too, quicker. Smiled. Sat till warm. Oaks bare. Lawn empty. Patio continuous. Karen had 2 numbers. Used fake key while I visited Sarah. Poured peers. Drilled Elizabeth Stones from 2009. I returned Tuesday, called demo. Stage gone Wednesday. 18 months. Conviction, $314,600 judgment. Fine, probation, no chair. Patio endures. Beyond her probation. What do you think? Share in the comments. Was this justice against overreach or too harsh? How far would you go facing injustice in your own backyard? Voice your stance on standing up to bullies in everyday life. Let's discuss.